Hello, everybody, and welcome to Your Voice Talk Show. We want to take the time to thank everybody for stopping in to watch the show today. We know it's a Sunday and pretty decent day outside, so we love that you stopped by to spend some time with us today. We're going to talk about an amazing topic that has impacted so many of us, from family members and friends. We're going to talk about breast health and awareness. Now, October is the month that everybody celebrates breast cancer awareness, but this is truly a topic that should be thought about 365 days of the year. If you're just tuning in for the first time, my name is Sonia Graham. I'm the author of It's Time to Uncover Your Original Blueprint, and I offer 10 steps to uncover the real you and your purpose. You can find the book at online at Amazon.com, Noble, Barnes and Noble, Target, and Walmart. So, without further ado, I want to share with you guys a video that the Rose gave us permission to show today that features Kim Roxy, the CEO of Lamique Cosmetics. It's very impactful, and we hope that you guys will also enjoy it. All right, we're new with the technology today with showing videos. Here we go.
Bear it alone. Be strong. Just stay silent. Just stay silent. Let's talk about breasts. Hi, I'm Kim Roxy, and I am the founder of Lamique Beauty. I am a native Houstonian. My mother actually got her breast cancer screening on a mobile unit that came out to her church from the Rose. And that's how she ended up finding out and getting diagnosed with breast cancer. And my mom uh, passed away in October, which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So in my culture, for a lot of Black women, it's the strong woman syndrome. We're wearing the cape, we're taking care of everybody else, and really don't even have time to take care of ourselves. And to be seen as weak is like a no-no. I find that, there's not resistance when you're in a community or a program where that's what we're talking about, but it's not something we just bring up. If we can talk about getting our breasts lifted and getting boob jobs and everything else and cosmetic surgery, we definitely can talk about what's actually going on inside of our boobs. I know that you are the strong one, and I know that you take care of everybody else. But how about if you feel something, if you know something, that you get yourself checked? It's like, don't carry the burden alone. There is support. There is so many organizations out there that are there to help us. And so I would just say, take the cape off, go get checked.
Wow. Take the cape off. That's powerful. That's a powerful statement right there. Um, we know we as women are resilient, and we try to do everything. So that message is impactful there to our community and just people as a whole, women, to say that it's time to take care of yourselves. So one of the I'd like to introduce an amazing lady that's actually with the Rose that was responsible for the video that you just saw with Kim Roxy. I want to introduce Chris Noble.
Good evening.
There you are. Hi, Chris.
Hi.
Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and read your amazing bio. So Chris Noble is the director of corporate and community relations for the Rose, a community leader in breast health, a community leader in breast health founded in 1986. Now in its 35th year, the Rose provides mammograms and other breast diagnostic services to all women. By having their mammogram at the Rose, 3 insured women help support 1 woman without insurance. Wow. For over 9 years, Chris has provided community presentations at businesses, churches, and groups for every sort on behalf of the Rose. As Director of Corporate and Community Relations, she raises breast cancer awareness and funds, but COVID-19 brought her work to a standstill. In 2020, undoubted, she found another way to help. Chris has created more than 500 pieces of pandemic art, raising more than $13,000 for the Rose. More than half of her art pieces have been donated to other nonprofits to give constituents or to help raise funds. Prior to the Rose, Chris owned an IT firm. Her company was 24 years old. The company was 24 years when she closed it in 2012. Over the years, her firm has garnered numerous awards. Chris has served many leadership roles in local and state women's organizations. She was recognized as one of Houston's 50 most influential women and as a distinguished leader impacting our community, honored as top women in technology, named Women Business Owner of the Year, honored as Women of Excellence, and is a 2001 Leadership Texas graduate. She holds a BS and an MS from the University of Houston. And in December, Chris will receive the Joe Biden's Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. Wow.
Wow.
That's a lot. That's a mouthful, Chris. You've done a lot.
Yes.
You have done a
Yes.
That's pretty awesome. And that was a condensed version of all your accomplishments.
Yeah, we don't need to go back over everything.
So we really appreciate your sacrifice that you've made to your community and to this cause. It's so needed. And you are one of the many soldiers because God has raised up different people to do different things. Mm-hmm. And so we're really grateful that you're one of those people that he's raised up for this cause because you are truly in the forefront of all the things that are going on. And I wanted to ask you, how did you get involved in this cause?
Well, I'd had my mammogram done at the Rose probably at that time before I started to work at the Rose. 15, 17 years had it done at the Rose and knew the wonderful work that the Rose did. And so that IT firm that I ran or I owned, my husband worked for me. And in February of 2012, he was diagnosed with cancer and died May the 10th. So I closed our business and rented out the building and went on my way to retirement for 6 weeks. And then I looked at myself in the mirror one day and said, Chris, you need a job. So I reached out to 3 local nonprofits whose message I thought I could be passionate about. One was Crime Stoppers, the other Houston Area Women's Center, and the third was the Rose. No one had a job for me, but Dorothy Gibbons said, come to work at the Rose and we'll figure out what you're going to do. So that's really how it all happened. And one day I showed up and 2 months later, I figured out what I wanted to do. Where I could make the most impact.
And here you still are.
And here I am. And here I am. Yes.
That's awesome. So it's been many years then.
Yes, this is the end of my 9th. I mean, I just saw that the Rose didn't have a lot of outreach. I mean, we might be invited to speak, but there wasn't someone out in the community attending events, getting to know people. I knew that in my computer business, my customers did business with people they know and they like. Well, I needed to get out in the community and introduce the Rose to all these folks.
Awesome. Well, I do know for a fact, because you do that you know several of the people on our panel, and especially the one that I'm getting ready to mention here. So we want to go ahead and introduce our warriors. This one warrior is a dynamic lady in our community, and I met her about 12 years ago, and I'm honored now to be actually an honorary board member on Safe Diversity's board. So I want to go ahead and introduce Miss Scott, Miss Thelma Scott, known to some of us as Mama Scott.
I can hear you.
There she is.
Yes.
Technology.
I can hear you, Sonia.
Okay, hi Mama Scott, how are you?
Hello, how you guys doing today?
Excellent.
It's a great day in Houston today. A great day because I woke up this morning and I saw a new day I'd never seen before. So it's a great day in Houston.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Amen to that. Well, you know what? You've done a lot, and so I would love to read your bio. It's going to take a minute, so just relax for a minute while I read the amazing things that you have done. So
All right.
again, we have Miss Thelma Scott. Okay, Thelma Scott is the founder and chairman of Safe Diversity Communities. She's formerly BJE, and she's a radio host. The organization was founded in December of 2000. In her research, she discovered students with disabilities throughout school districts and the community. Since then, Ms. Scott has dedicated her life, time, and passion as a disability and suicide prevention advocate and a mentor to stop the stigma of bullying and to reduce the dropout and suicide rate for students with disabilities and save them from human trafficking, while educating the youth and their families about environmental justice, racial injustice, and climate change. Ms. Scott's first appointment as an advocate for people with disabilities was in 2004 by the Honorable Mayor Lee P. Brown. She was a member of the Mayor's Committee for the People with Disabilities in 2004, and she was reappointed in 2006 by the Honorable Mayor Bill White, where she was the voice to create the first Mayor's Youth Advocate Award, which is awarded to the youth with a disability each year by the City of Houston. Ms. Scott is an ex-officer of the Governor's RCT Advisory Council in Austin. She was the first African-American woman with a disability to be appointed in 2008 by the Governor's Office Rehabilitation Council for the state of Texas. RCT, that is established by the federal law to provide community input and vocational rehabilitation agencies in Texas. During Ms. Scott's tenure as a RCT council member for the state of Texas, she serves on various committees, including the Planning and Review Committee and the Advocacy and Education Committee. She also serves on the Black Heritage Society Board of MLK Parade Foundation, Spring ISD, Business and Community Advisory Committee, Spring Education Foundation Board, Texas Rehabilitation Association Advocate, Advisory Committee, and travel to Washington, D.C. to advocate for bills that affect people with disabilities. Other notable services include the Mayor's Office, K-12 Advisory Committee, Houston Northwest Chamber of Commerce Education Committee for 19 years, Texas Gulf Coast Diversity Council Education Advisory Committee. Ms. Scott hosts her own radio talk show, Embracing Diversity, at Radio DeBang, 99.5 FM radio station every fourth Monday of the month. Ms. Scott is unstoppable. So that's a whole lot, just like Miss Chris, you guys have done so much, and this is a condensed version of your bios. But you've done so much that I really wanted to make sure you guys have, people have an understanding of your commitment to the community. I want to go ahead and introduce another warrior, not a stranger to Your Voice talk show. I want to introduce Sonia Pelton Sam.
Hello, Miss Sonia. How are you?
Hi, Sonia.
Hi, Sonia. How are you doing?
Good, namesake. So Sonia Pelton Sam is also known as the Glam Coach. She's a wife, mother of two, and a grandmother of two. She is a national speaker, former TV show talk host, Your Talk Time TV. She is an author, a certified teacher, mentor, licensed instructor, and certified in arts as therapy, and a certified life coach who brings an abundance of excitement, power, and creativity wherever she goes. She holds an Associate of Arts, Associate of Arts and Science, and a Bachelor of Arts. She instructs those whom she teaches to have vision, clarity, and focus in all areas of life. Her specialty is in self-development, and her programs inspire individuals to build, grow, and live life fully while living in their purpose. She coaches individuals, teams, and teaches them to make positive decisions and to genuinely love themselves while empowering them to maintain balance in all areas of their lives. Sonia owned a successful business in Fort Worth, Texas, a salon that was the largest Black-owned salon in the city of Fort Worth when it opened. She has survived many life challenges, 2 divorces, now happily married for almost 15 years. Her latest fight was being diagnosed with cancer, but God allowed her to beat the odds. Welcome to the show, Sonia. We want to introduce another warrior, Rhonda McMillan Duhart.
Hi,
McNeil Newhart, where are you at, Rhonda?
here I am.
Technology is really slow today.
Let's see. I don't know why. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yep. Yes. Hi, Rhonda.
Hi.
So Rhonda she's actually a mother of Taekwondo Olympic silver medalist Nia Abdallah, who I actually had the pleasure to be the manager for that. And so I want to let you know that I've known Rhonda for 17 years, and I consider her my sister. So Rhonda McNeil Duhart is a wife, a mother, a grandmother who fought and won the battle with breast cancer. She does not see herself as a survivor, but a cancer warrior and a woman of God's grace. Rhonda gained strength and support at her place of fellowship, First Metropolitan Church, under the leadership of Pastor John and Evelyn Ogletree. Rhonda recently retired from IGT with 29 years of service as sales leader, managing over 200 accounts. She's dedicated to working and supporting cancer warriors. As a warrior, Rhonda has begun to work for a mother-daughter organization. The focus is developing positive relationships and enhancing communication. Now, our last warrior I want to introduce is Creisha Jones. Creisha.
Hi, Miss Sonia.
Hey, Creisha. There
Hi,
you
Miss Sonia.
are. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Hello, everyone.
Awesome. I want to tell the people a little bit about you. Creisha Jones is married, a mother of 2 spectacular sons, Jeremy and Joshua. She is the sole proprietor of Honey's Closet T-shirt Design and Boutique. She also owns and operates Travel Junkie Vacations, an online travel service. And on October the 7th, 2020, Krisha was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. She has been on the battlefield ever since her diagnosis. Krisha is strongly supported by her husband, Alan, sons, her beautiful mother, her siblings, and a roster of friends and family. Welcome, ladies, to Your Voice Talk Show.
Thank you.
So it's such a pleasure to have each one of you here today. I do want to start with a question for the Warriors, and I'm going to ask you guys one. I'm going to say the question, and each person is going to get a chance to answer it. So the first question is, how old were you when you were diagnosed? And so, Mama Scott, Miss Mama Scott, can you answer that for me?
Yes, I was diagnosed when I was 42 years old. And I was senior communication officer at the police department.
Okay. And Miss Sonia?
I was 46.
Okay. Awesome. And Miss Rhonda Duhart?
I was 62.
Okay. And Krisha?
I was 48.
Okay. And then the other question I wanted to ask each one of you is if you could tell us exactly what your diagnoses were. Mama Scott?
My diagnosis was breast cancer, and they caught it in the first stage of the cancer.
Okay. And Sonia?
I was triple negative, grade 3.
Okay. I was breast cancer, stage 1.
Triple negative, grade 3.
Okay. And Krisha?
Triple negative, grade 3.
And that stage 3,
Okay.
grade, it can be a grade 2 or 3. So we're saying it wrong, but it's stages, actually stage 3, and I think it was grade 3. Is that right, Chris?
Yeah, because they kind of told me like in between a 2 and a 3.
Okay. That's where you, yeah.
Okay. All right. And then I wanted to find out what each one of you, where your first symptoms were. Miss Scott, what were your first symptoms?
My first symptom was that I had fell on my breast, and that's when I noticed that I had the lump there.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And Sonia?
I rolled over and it was something tender. When I touched it, it was just like an extra large lump. And so I went and got it checked.
I got mine from I did mine in self-examination. When I took my showers and stuff, I always did a self-examination. And I noticed that my lump then.
Okay. And Krisha?
I noticed my lump during the shower, just doing my shower, and I just felt something hard. It didn't hurt or anything. It just was just hard. And I immediately went to get it checked.
Wow. I think it's interesting how you're saying that it's just with you guys touching yourselves or just something that you noticed something was wrong, and Mother Scott, that an incident brought attention to your knowing that you had it, because had you not fallen, that you may not have noticed that. Were you doing monthly exams?
Well, yes, I did it, but I had fallen, but I had hurt myself seriously, so I had to do chemo, plus I had to have spinal surgery at the same time I was dealing with with spinal
yeah.
surgery, major surgery, and breast cancer all at the same time.
Wow. And that was actually my next question is what was your form of treatment that was recommended that you went through?
Well, my form of treatment was recommended. I had to do chemotherapy and radiation. Or back when I was taking chemo and radiation, it was very strong. So I had brain damage from the chemo and radiation, which I had to be hospitalized for a long, long time. And as I came out, then I had to learn
Oh, wow.
how to read and write and how to learn all over again because I became a woman with a learning disability due to the chemo and radiation that I endured during that time.
Wow. And what was your treatment, Sonia?
I did chemo, I did radiation, and then I did oral chemo.
Okay. And then Rhonda, your treatment?
I did the radiation.
Okay. Awesome.
And Sonia, I had surgery too. I'm sorry.
I did
Okay,
chemo.
go ahead. You had surgery?
Oh.
Okay, we can go ahead, Krisha. You can finish, and Sonia, I want you to go ahead and finish telling us about your surgery.
Okay, I did chemo. I did 2 types of chemo. I had a lumpectomy surgery in June. I had to do radiation, which I just completed this past Friday, and then I'll see my oncologist to do or to discuss an oral chemo for the next 2 months.
Okay, awesome. Well, congratulations on getting through those processes, and we'll be praying that that'll be a good report.
Yes, thank
Great
you.
report. All right, and Sonia, you were mentioning a surgery?
Yes, I did. I did the lumpectomy also.
Okay, awesome. Did anybody else do any other type of surgeries with their treatment?
Yes, I did. I had to learn this. I had it removed. Yes.
Okay. All right. I do want to invite our audience to ask any questions throughout the whole the broadcast today and be a part of the conversation. You can, of course, make your questions in the comments, or you can send a text to 832-428-1123. But if you guys have any questions or input, we want you guys to be a part of this conversation as well. So please feel free to ask your questions. We have any questions, Tracy?
No, Sonia. Actually, I have
Feel
a
free to ask
lot
any
of.
questions and any comments, any input you have, you guys. It's an interactive show. We want everybody to be a part of the conversation.
I think that you have a little bit of a lag in your broadcast on your side, so you're hearing things kind of after the fact. But there's a lot of comments in here. A lot of people basically are saying congratulations. God bless all of you. I did see one comment from what's that? Tony. She said, "I love Chris. She's an awesome lady." Kathy Tatum said, "Collaborating Voices is watching from Houston." Let's see here.
Awesome.
Love you, Krisha. God bless all of you. Congratulations, Krisha. Blessings to each and every one of you from Paulette Jackson. There is a question from Farrell Phelps. How did you all stay encouraged during this time?
Okay. I can answer that question. I stayed encouraged with my husband. My husband was my rock. he was there from beginning to the end and walked me through everything, because I became very, very ill at the time. You guys, this was back 29 years ago. I'm 29-year breast cancer. So the technology that they have today, they didn't have it back when I was dealing with breast cancer. So it was very, very challenged at the time. I became very, very depressed, doing a lot of anxiety, where I was in the hospital for a very, very, very long time. During this time, breast cancer, I say like 4.5 years. So I went through a lot, you guys. So I'm just a living testimony. If you only knew my story during that time. So I just say that I'm a living testimony,
Wow.
guys. Mhm.
And we're thankful for you. Thankful for you.
Let's see.
My support.
Anybody else want to chime in?
My support were family and friends. I have like an awesome support group all the way around. If it wasn't for Chris went ahead and pushed me ahead to go ahead and get that exam, even though I felt the lumps. It was like, okay, go ahead and get it. So I'm thankful for even just friends like Chris and just knowing amazing people. My husband, he was a great help. My kids helped me. My mom and dad actually moved in. They came from out of town and they were with me a little over a year. So they just kind of moved in with me and my husband and my daughter and just kind of took the reins, helped me get from point A to point B. And so with this, you want to make sure that you have an awesome, amazing support group, family, friends, people around you to encourage you. God, for sure. God, speaking positivity over myself, encouraging myself in the Lord. So all those things in combination, I think, really kept me going.
Wow.
Wow.
With me,
That's awesome.
Son, you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Well, I want to first give honor to God. You know, like I told you before, I don't look as myself as a survivor. I'm a warrior, not by choice. I just look at the grace of God. God brought me through there. It was kind of like the poem that talks about footsteps. I definitely know that He carried me. There was not my footsteps in the sands, but I'm awfully grateful for my family. I had an awesome husband. My children were awesome during that time. I had cousins, and I even have one of my coworkers' wife during that time that has never met me, but she sent me prayers and messages every day, and you know, it really helped me get through that thing. She's kind of been like an encourager to me, because you know, as Christians, we're supposed to not, you know, because she had went through it, but to reach out and stop thinking of yourself and make sure I'm doing this for someone else. And she really did a wonderful job of that. But it's, you know, like the other lady has said, I'm more of a walking testimony than being a survivor or warrior. Because if it wasn't for Him, I wouldn't be here.
Amen.
Amen. I would like to say God's grace carried me through this whole ordeal. If it wasn't for God, I just don't think I would have made it. My husband and my sons, my mother, my sisters, I have a really, really, really awesome support system, support group. I made friends in a Facebook support group. I call them my breasties, aka breasties, and my pink sisters. They got me through. And my 3 little grandkids, my 3 little grandchildren, I would take their pictures with me when I would go to treatments or look at it in my phone, or videos. I record videos. I take a lot of pictures. I would look at those all doing treatments, and it would just really get me through. On days when I felt like I couldn't make it, I would look at their pictures and their videos, and they call me honey. So the little things they would say, honey this, honey that, it would just make me smile, and it really got me through. It did.
Sonia, I just want to add something to you guys. I need to add this because it's important. Because I said that my husband was my rock. My husband was my rock, but my husband wanted to take care of me himself. So you guys, when my family and my kids found out that they had breast cancer, I was in remission. My husband took me to Lakewood Church. We doing Lakewood Church during the time I was going through these changes. And Lakewood Church became my support. Those years I joined the choir there, and they was there through everything. So afterwards, my family and my kids, they told their daddy, we're going to kill you. How'd you get through it? But remember, during the time that I was dealing with breast cancer, I also was dealing with a spinal injury. So I was in the hospital doing therapy. I was doing all this. So that's how he got away with it. He said, well, your mom is still taking therapy, right? I was taking therapy. I had a spinal injury. I had to have a metal plate and pull screws and put in my neck from the fall. So I was dealing with breast cancer and a spinal injury. So my husband was able to walk me through that because he wanted to be there for me, to take care of me. He didn't want to tell, I have 4 daughters, and he didn't want to get them upset to think that they would one day get breast cancer. So he wanted to make sure that I was in remission. And he walked me through that. He was my rock. Unconditional love, you guys. He walked me through that in Lakewood Church.
Yes.
Wow. That's
Sonia, you got a
awesome.
second for me
That
to
is
talk?
awesome. And yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know.
You just chime in anytime.
Okay. I don't know whether you women were insured or uninsured.
I was insured.
I'm figuring most of you were insured, but at the Rose, we take care of that uninsured woman. So a lot of those things that you were saying your family did and your church did and all of that, that came from that uninsured woman from a patient navigator. The day she was given her diagnosis, the doctor was in the room and her patient navigator, who soon became like her big sister. She took her to appointments. She explained her diagnosis. She explained it to her family. She helped her get gas cards, food, anything she needed to make it through. So I just wanted to let you know that the Rose does that for that uninsured woman.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yes,
that is awesome.
Yes.
And I believe we're going to have all the information on the resources. We're going to make sure we put that in the comments as well too, so everybody will have that.
Yes.
It's just a wealth of information and services that they offer, as well as some of the other resources that any of the panelists might share today as well too. So I think one of the things that do we have any questions in the audience, Michelle?
Yes, there's a question that says, what would you ladies say to a woman who has just been diagnosed?
I would say don't give
jump in. Anybody got?
I would say don't give up. I would say keep the faith. I would say it's okay. You're going to make it, right? So immediately, kind of read up, find out what's going on with you. I would say don't jump into being fearful or anything like that. Just know where your support is coming from. I did also like Creesha, Facebook groups are totally amazing. They are when you don't want to wake anybody else up.
Yes.
Right? They're private. I mean, I could show pictures, things, ask questions, people out for prayer, things like that. I mean, just people could just talk to you and you can say, I'm feeling bad tonight, I'm sick. Somebody else might say, I'm sick too. Somebody else might kind of tell you, hey, if you eat a pineapple, and it might work. I'm telling you, something work because they've been there and they've done that. Mm-hmm. And so I would say just get to know everything up front. Don't be fearful. Go through the process. Stay as positive as possible. Because if you don't quit, it is going to work out. We are all living testimonies of that.
Yes. And I would say I agree with Sonia. The Facebook group that we're in, they're awesome. And it's a lot of, when I was first diagnosed, it was a lot of people that really couldn't understand what I was going through. And I would have symptoms and it would just be certain things I would explain to people, but they don't know because they're not going through it. And I would get into that group and I can just kind of type in the symptom or type a question, and it would be so many comments and topics on that particular situation, and it would be similar to what I was going through. So what I had to learn, I talked to a lot of people when I was first diagnosed, and if I was telling someone newly diagnosed, I would tell them, first of all, to pray and depend on God, and everyone's body is different. So what one lady told me, she didn't burn at all during radiation. Well, I burned. So I'm just saying that to say everyone is different. They can tell you their experience, but you won't know until you experience it for yourself.
Right.
And that's something that I will tell, because that's something I had to see for myself.
Well, you guys were lucky to have Facebook. During my time, there was no Facebook.
Yes. We're just glad you made it through it.
Yes.
Amen.
I do have another question.
Were there any type of support group?
I have a question for Chris. Chris, the question is about the mobile unit. They want to know where it's available and how long is the test in regard to, I guess, the exam itself.
Our mobile units. We have 2, soon to be 3 mobile units. The 2 are already booked, and they're probably already booked through 2022, and there's a wait list because there's a lot of companies and a lot of schools that have already been doing it. So every year, their people are used to that. The 3rd one that's coming was some of the funding came from outside of Houston. I think I'm not really even sure exactly, not that far out of Houston, but it will probably be housed there so it can take care of the women in that area, because that's why that person donated the $1 million point whatever to get that unit there. So it's hard to get the unit, but once you get the unit, and you've got to have 30 women in a day, and it can be a paper nightmare almost, because not every woman's due for her mammogram the same day. So you've got to search out, at the same time. So it just takes a while. To me, it's easier to go, just to go to one of our 2 clinics. I'm having mine done next week, actually. I have, like I said, been having it done for, now it's 27 years. And the mammogram itself, once you get in the room, is 15 minutes at the most, unless that technician thinks she sees something. And if she thinks she sees something, because she's seeing that negative right then, and she's seeing the pictures right then, so she may go get the doctor, and the doctor may say, well, maybe we should do an ultrasound. And I tell a lot of women get really upset when they hear I got to go back for an ultrasound. But really, in most cases, it's because the radiologist couldn't see a part of your breast. It wasn't that they saw something on your breast. If you have dense tissue, they may not be able to see every part of the breast that they need to see.
Right.
I equate it to a cloud. You can't see what's behind the cloud. It could be a bird, it could be an airplane, or it could be nothing. Right. And so that's kind of what happens. But for just a normal screening, I'd say less than an hour at the Rose, maybe even less than that.
Okay.
Did I answer her questions?
Yeah, I don't know, but Sonia, do you see the question from Kathy Tatum?
Yeah, Michelle, you see the question from Kathy?
From Kathy Tatum, she's on.
Yes, she's the one I've been reading the questions for.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you all. I just want to share that. And Kathy is a supporter, a friend of mine, and I saw her name, and I know she always have something good for everybody.
Yes,
she's the one who we're talking, who just asked that question, actually.
Yeah. And I'm willing to figure out a way to make it happen.
One of the things
it's pushing a piece of string up a hill, if you can understand. It's just hard. It's hard to get something that's not at a company, at one company. It's just hard.
Right. Right.
Mhm. Yeah. So while we're on the exams, I want to show a couple videos. The first one I'm going to show is on breast self-exam. You know, just so people have that aren't doing it or may not know if they're doing it correctly. Let's go ahead and show a video on how to do a breast self-exam, which they recommend that you do. And I noticed in this video, they talk about during your cycle. So whether you're past your cycle, you're premenopause, post-menopause, or any of that, it's still important for you to do your breast exams monthly. So let's go ahead and show that video, and hopefully technology will be friendly and show it properly.
Welcome to Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We're so very excited to be presenting a series of webinars that will address some.
All right. So do you guys have any feedback on that breast examination?
I do.
Anybody have any feedback?
I do. I believe that it's wonderful that as adults we do it, but we need to start with our young girls when they start getting their periods to teach them when they're young, that it just be part of the normal thing that we teach our daughters about it, where as they grow older, it'll just be a way of life. I just wanted to put that in.
You got 2 thumbs up on that one, girl.
Mm.
I think that's
Yes, that is so wonderful. Chris was on last Thursday. She spoke to about 200 young people about breast cancer at our events. That's so important to get it into the schools early.
Well, so, we are diagnosing women in their 20s. 2 weeks ago, it was a 28-year-old woman. So, I mean, I just think teenagers need to have it on their radar.
Right.
They just need to just start always looking at their bodies, knowing what their normal is. I did want to say one thing after the breast self-exam, that stage 0 and stage 1, you don't feel them, you don't see them. And they are 100% curable if caught at that stage. And the way you find that is a screening mammogram every year. That I can't stress that enough.
And I'm glad you. Yeah. It's very important.
Because
That's
the other
every year.
stages.
Now,
yeah.
isn't it true?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4 are treatable, but they're not necessarily curable. So we want women to have curable. That's what we're trying to do. We've been praying for it.
Right. Yes.
We just need to get a mammogram.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, with that being said, the next video is actually talking about the difference between a 2D and a 3D mammogram. And we do know that some insurance companies cover it and some do not. But sometimes the difference is a minimum out of the pocket. So I want people to kind of see a little bit about why they may want to consider the 3D. So it's a short clip, so hopefully that will play friendly.
Meantime, Washington State is one of about a dozen that requires health insurance companies to cover the cost of 3D mammograms, which can detect breast cancer earlier and potentially save lives.
Yeah, but how is this new technology different than a traditional mammogram? Well, Mimi is here to explain this for us.
Well, this is a question a lot of people have because this technology is only about 8 years old. The 3D mammogram actually may not seem all that different to the patient. The machine, I saw it yesterday, it looks exactly the same. The screening is actually done the same way. It's the same amount of time. And the exposure to radiation is also the same. 2D mammograms take a single image, but with 3D mammography, called tomosynthesis, radiologists can look at your breast tissue in greater detail by taking a series of x-rays to create that 2D picture. By looking at the stacks of layers, doctors are able to see right through the breast. They're able to catch cancers that might not show up in a 2D mammogram. Studies show 3D mammograms can improve the detection of invasive cancer by up to 40%, and it cuts down on the number of women who have to be called back for additional testing. This is especially important for women who have dense breast tissue.
When I used to read exams in 2D, especially with extremely dense breasts or women who have a very strong family history, I would worry. I would wonder about what I'm not seeing, what I'm missing, because when the breast is extremely dense, it can hide a lot.
So let me show you on the Microsoft Surface why these 3D mammograms are so important. I pulled up a picture of a woman who has non-dense breasts. There's a lot of dark areas. Any suspicious areas that might be cancer show up as white. So obviously that would be very easy to detect. But this is a woman who has dense breasts. Look at all this white tissue. And if you had a suspicious area, also white, you can see why that would be hard to detect. So that's why women who have dense breasts are encouraged to get those 3D mammograms. The Polyclinic was one of the first to provide 3D mammography to its patients, and now they offer it exclusively. You can't even get a 2D mammogram. And a lot more healthcare providers are offering it as well. Dr. Swami recommends that all women, dense breasts or not, who can get a 3D mammogram take advantage of this new technology. Steve?
Sonia, when I speak about it,
Awesome.
I differentiate it from that negative that you've seen, your teeth and your lungs and all that negative. That's 2D. You go to a 3D, it's like a loaf of bread, and it's all these different views. So you can find things inside easier. I mean, they're life-changing. Mm-hmm. Because they can really find things in your breast, whereas the 2D, it has to be relied on more. The doctor kind of, to figure out what if something's different. Whereas, I mean, you can see it because it's just these slices. Saved a lot of women's lives.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yep.
And then sometimes it's just a matter of asking. When you make your annual exam, asking for it and then verifying if your insurance does or does not, and then finding out what the difference in cost is, even if your insurance does not cover it. Right. And let's put a little humor. Are they working to develop something a little bit more comfortable with doing the mammogram? Because
Okay.
Yes,
right
they
now,
are. Yes, they
They,
are.
they are. However, here's what I say. When you go in there, if you go to the Rose, you make sure you tell them that you're my friend. That'll help too. But when you go in there, if you're afraid or if you've had mammograms that really hurt, tell them. It always hurts when I have my left breast done. I say ow, and not quietly either. But by that time, it's over. It is over. And then am I wrong? Just ow. And then
Chris, my doctor, I have one next week. My doctor said they got a new machine, a new something with some kind of scan or something. Because I said, I'm old and my breast is old, and I want to make sure they don't hurt. She said, "Oh, Miss Scott, it won't, because it's some kind of scan or something." She said they have some kind of new technology.
There is something that
I'll let
makes
y'all
it a
know
little
after
easier.
7. I'll let you know after 7.
Yes, you let me know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
but
because I got old breast. Oh.
Well, so do I, girl. And the other thing that I say when I'm talking is, you go to the doctor and they need to draw your blood, and you get that nurse or that person that has to stick you 3 or 4 times to get. I see Sonia shaking her to get the blood, and then the next time you go, you get the girl that sticks you once. Right. That's a level of skill. The women at the Rose doing mammograms are at that higher level of skill.
Yeah, they have to know what they're doing, because back when I was in my 30s, I had a mammogram. They put it down so hard, I completely passed out. I completely passed out. I woke up on the table.
I can completely understand.
Wow. And I have a fear of that, so they have to be very careful, because I pass out in a minute, because that's my tender areas. You have to let them know. I have to explain to them. So my doctor has it. It's in my medical records. Miss Scott it has the tendency of passing completely out.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
Well, now I'm guilty. I mean, I'm guilty, and I think I shared it with Sonia. I was not taking mammograms. I don't know when I had one before then. That's why I was examining myself, because I was one of those dense women. And I was one of those women that said, ouch. And I was one of the women that let them know how my feelings, but it still hurt very much. Outside of me having dense breast, I had cysts in my breast. I had 17 in one and 20 in another.
Oh, wow.
And,
right.
And so I would avoid that. But I mean, I would discourage anybody else not to do that, but if you're not going to do it, you got to at least do it. Instagram or something, because there are women that are terrified. I was one of them. I don't care what you say, how you sugar it up. I was terrified of it, of having that examination done to me, because I was in so much pain. I was in so much pain, and that was one of the reasons. And also, once they told me that once I had a double mastectomy, I wouldn't have to have it again. That helped me make my decision. Okay, I'm 60 years old. I didn't have no problem having a double mastectomy because of the pain. But I hope hopefully that they do come up with some other things. We need to have that discussion with women, because I know I'm not the only one that. It's not the part of going and getting a shot or getting blood drawn. It still don't take as long. But when you're passing out with it, or you're in such severe pain, that is something that needs to be discussed, because it's important that you do have it done, because it can save your life. Right. Just by the grace of God. That's why I keep going back. It's by His grace. It's wasn't because I was going out and getting no mammograms, okay? I promise you that. It was because that I started being more in tune with my body and watching for anything different from it. Even at 60 years old, I was looking to see if anything had changed in my breast, because I was terrified of those machines.
Right.
I want to add to this conversation.
Yeah.
That fear is one thing, right? Because I was fearful. But if you can catch this early, you might can come out with just the surgery, smaller things, right? Because the fear that you have of going in and it hurting and things like that, trust me, you don't want chemo if you don't have to have chemo. You don't want something if you don't have to have it, right?
Right.
So
Absolutely.
the earlier that you catch it, right? Break the fear, break the stigma, go in, get it done, and come out. Like Chris said, it's quick, it's fast, it's to the point. We go through other things, and it hurts for a minute, and it's over, right? And so, from my experience of waiting, every time I waited, it was growing because I had a fast growing cancer. The kind I had was it grew rapidly. So every time I waited, it was growing, right? And so every month you wait can make a difference, right? Every 6 weeks you wait can make a difference. And so from my experience, I will tell you to don't wait. Go get it done. Get past it, but don't let a doctor tell you that a lump is nothing. I had a doctor tell me, "Oh no, it's fine, it's okay." I was like, "This is not my norm. This is not me." They sent me to another doctor that told me, "Oh, it's not cancer." They did a 2D, went ahead and did a 3D, and still told me, "I don't think it's anything, but we're gonna go ahead." And because I insisted, they went ahead and did the
biopsy,
and it was cancer, and it was an aggressive cancer, and they even cried. The doctor's like, "I really just didn't think that's what it was." And so I would say, just go ahead. Don't take no for an answer if you know something is wrong with your body. Look past the pain, get it in, and it's gonna be okay.
Yes.
We have to say thank God for the new technology.
Exactly.
We have to thank God for the new technology that they have today.
Yes, He's made those people smarter doing that stuff.
That's really good.
Yes. I wanted to speak for all of us.
That's good stuff.
To tell you guys tell the audience out there that I'm pretty sure every one of us, if you called us and said, "Go with me, please, to get a mammogram," we would go.
Yes.
I'd be happy to do that. I'd even be happy to just do a dry run for you where they don't even do anything, so you can kind of get your head around it. That's how important this is. All of us know how important this is. We'll help you. So reach out to one of us. We'll help you.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I think it's something that, they have the take your loved one to the hospital and all that stuff, but they have October for breast cancer awareness, but honestly, this is something 365 days of the year that we need to be thinking about, encouraging each other. And it's nice if you go the same time every year, just to make sure you won't forget, or take somebody with you to go the same time every year, but just become, whether it's your mother, a friend, it doesn't matter. We really need to, be that help conduit to help through those painful situations so they don't become worse. That's what real friendship is about. And I think that's the thing. We need to start reaching out really in a human way. We do so many things, social media, but let's reach out where we make an impact that can save lives.
I'm
Let's
saying,
talk about it 365 days, not.
May I make an announcement? Or when you finish, may I make an announcement?
Yes, you may.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to invite everybody to, they can call in tomorrow on my show, Embracing Diversity. It's from 12 to 1 tomorrow, and Miss Chris will be my co-host on tomorrow, and we will be talking about breast cancer on tomorrow as well. So the phone number is 713-974-4000 if you want to call in and have more questions, but we'll be talking about breast cancer on tomorrow. My radio show is Radio DeBane 99.5 FM, and it is an international radio station that we will be talking about breast cancer. Thank you.
And we'll make sure we put that information in the chat too, Ms. Scott, so then they'll have that information as well. We're getting close to the wire, but there's also a lot of technology and research that for sure Chris stays up on. And I wanted her to, if she could share the future forecast or what she's hearing about the future of breast cancer with us, and as it relates even maybe to how this pandemic has maybe affected us. Can you share some information that you may have for us?
Sure. The good thing the good news is that we can cure those initial 0 and 1 diagnoses. That's the really good news. And we've got technology that can help. Unfortunately, the pandemic has not done us any favors in the breast cancer area. After Hurricane Harvey, we saw a 27% increase in breast cancer diagnosis. People go, why? One of the number one risk factors is stress. Who wasn't stressed under Hurricane Harvey? But how much stress have we gone through during this pandemic? So the Rose and a lot of other medical professionals are preparing for an epidemic of breast cancer. And it may even be late stage breast cancer because women have lost their jobs and their health insurance. So they're not going to get a mammogram where they can find out at an early stage. So I need those words out there so that people understand this. And it's, and we put on those COVID pounds. Being overweight is a risk factor. Hopefully you at least walked out the door and did some activities, but being inactive is another risk factor. And it's really not just for breast cancer. All disciplines are expecting some sort of increase in cancers in their area. So, taking care of your body, doing those things, it can be eliminated, it can be cured. But we're looking at a tough few years. So I need you to share that with everybody and let them know those women that have always had health insurance but don't have it now, they may not know about the Rose. They may not know that. And there are a lot of clinics that are either free clinics or reduced price, but that's not what they've been accustomed to because they hadn't needed to do it. But now they do. One of the really good things that has happened at the Rose recently is that we now have a nurse practitioner on staff. So those 1,500 women that couldn't get appointments with us because they didn't have a medical home and they never called us back will now be able every year to have a nurse practitioner give her, do the exam for her, give her orders, and a doctor receive the results. And I mean, this is going to be life-changing for some women because we didn't have that capability before. And we were all praying that somehow it would happen. And we have a anonymous donor who is making that happen because he or she, we think it's a she, I think it's a she, knows how important it is. And plus these people will have a medical home now instead of nothing, to where they can't get any tests. So that's a really great thing. I mean, we got good stuff happening at the Rose. So we need your insured breasts, obviously. We do 40,000 mammograms a year, 10 of which are to uninsured women. So that tells you how important your insured breasts are to the Rose. And donations. A mammogram, a 3D mammogram at the Rose is $250. So anything you can donate to get us closer to $250, we can get another mammogram for somebody and save it. And I don't look at it as just saving a woman. It's saving a mom, a sister, a daughter, an aunt, a grandmother. It's saving important people.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Chris, we have a question.
That is so
Does the Rose take gold cards, Medicaid, free rides, or homeless?
I think that we do. I'm pretty sure we do. But you just need to call the line. That's not quite in my bailiwick. And it changes all the time. But yeah, I would make that phone call and you, yeah.
Okay, awesome. So we're going to make sure we have a lot of the resource and information in the comments. And we'd like to ask all the panelists, and including you, Chris, if you guys would go into, if there's like some of these questions that may come in a little later and check, and if you guys can address those questions, that would be wonderful. We did come up with 4 takeaways that we would like to share with everybody. And one is, please do your monthly self-exams. Number 2 is get your annual mammogram, preferably a 3D, and manage your stress. Manage your stress. Because what Chris just said, that stress is something that could lead to breast cancer and other things as well. And then the other thing is your yearly checkups. Like we know a lot of people during the pandemic weren't going to the doctor. So when you can, whether it's telemedicine or when you can get in there, please consider doing that. And I just want to say this is a conversation that is just so impactful, and there's so much information that it could go on for a very long time. But I want to thank each and every one of you ladies for taking the time to come in and be a part of the Your Voice platform and share your personal journeys as well as any input that you've shared. But please, if you guys would please look at the comments and add any additional feedback later today, that would be wonderful. So just want to thank you guys so much. We're going to talk about breast cancer like every quarter on Your Voice Talk Show, because I truly believe it's more than an October situation. We need to be mindful of it 365 days of the year. And so you guys, please stay tuned and be looking, for it every quarter on Your Voice Talk Show. So,
Sonia?
Thank you, ladies, so much. Yes.
I just figured out how to go look at the comments, and there was a question about men and could men get breast cancer, and I just wanted to let them know everything I said about breast cancer is male breast cancer as well, except it's not as many people, but it's staged the same. Everything is the same. Male breast cancer represents about 1% of the 40,000 that are diagnosed every year. But yes, men. I just saw that.
Absolutely.
Okay, I think I'm done.
Are there any other questions in there? No, that's okay. Is there any other questions in there that we did not answer, Tracy? Because I love to, that's part of the show, is to be able to get your questions answered and be a part of the conversation.
Well, there's some good news in the comments.
Awesome. But don't forget Collaborative Voices donate. Oh, we have some donations.
Yes, that's the good news. Yeah. Thank you.
But that's good stuff. We're going to actually put how you can donate to Rose and stuff in the comments as well too, and more information. One of the resources I remember Chris shared with me, you said that the American Cancer Society is a good source for any and all cancers as well too, right? And that's American Cancer Society.org. But we're going to have all of that as well as the org. You can donate in the comments. So keep asking your questions, and the panel and guests will look at them and answer those. Again, thank you guys for everybody that tuned in today to Your Voice Talk Show. Thank you so much to my amazing guests and panel for coming. I really appreciate you. Technology is one of those things, but we made it through with God's grace, and I'm grateful for that because hopefully this will reach somebody, teach somebody, and maybe save a life. So you guys have a blessed evening, and we'll see you guys again on another Your Voice Talk Show. Thank you.
Thank you.